you showed up.
You sure know how to throw a party. No food, no drinks, and the only babe just left.
My sincerest apology, brother. I was so eager to see you, I couldn't concentrate on preparations for the bash.
Whatever. At any rate, it's been a whole year since we last met. How about a kiss from your little brother? Or better yet, how about a kiss from this? So, this is what they call a heartwarming family reunion, eh?
You got that right.
Devil May Cry 3: Dante's Awakening is an avant-garde video game. Period. This might be a shocking statement, but Devil May Cry 3: Dante's Awakening is the truest form of what a Devil May Cry video game should be in general. I felt that Devil May Cry 5 and Devil May Cry 2 failed to achieve what makes Devil May Cry, well, Devil May Cry. Here is a great question. What is Devil May Cry? Is fighting demons with ridiculous over-the-top combat Devil May Cry? Is taunting demons with quick-whipped one-liners Devil May Cry?
The likes of you are forbidden in this land. You who are powerless are not worthy to set foot here.
Wow, I've never seen a talking mud before. You know, in a dog show, you definitely take first place.
Is Dante Devil May Cry? Is Devil May Cry a shop? Go on and try to answer and guess, but only a few will actually know what Devil May Cry is. The answer can be found in this very scene. Let us take a look.
Are you crying?
It's only the rain.
The rain already stopped.
Devils never cry.
I see. Maybe somewhere out there even a devil may cry when he loses a loved one. Don't you think?
Maybe.
Mary, or Lady if you prefer, states that even a devil may cry for a loved one. That is the answer. Devil May Cry is a motif of love. How is that so hard to answer? Take a few notes from Jester if you need help remembering what Devil May Cry is.
Bingo! That is what the something is. Remember that, kid? Write it down on your hand if you don't trust your head.
Devil May Cry 3: Dante's Awakening is a hack-and-slash action-adventure video game by Capcom and released on the PlayStation 2 in 2005. You play as Dante, who is a vigilante that fights demons for a living. Upon starting up his newfound business, Dante is mysteriously invited by his twin brother, Virgil, to a ritual of connecting the human and demonic realms together. Virgil seeks to enter the demonic realm to claim the power of their father and become a full-fledged demon. However, he lacks a key component to achieve his goal that Dante holds, the amulet from their mother. The two brothers clash. Dante attempts to stop Virgil, and Virgil pursues demonic inheritance. The two are at odds with one another, but a third party has plans to intervene and throw both into chaos for the sake of their own goals. For the sake of the video, I will be presenting Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening with the Special Edition port. Not only does the Special Edition have enhanced visual fidelity, but there is one huge reason that the version added that I want to showcase. So be sure to keep watching until then. Devil May Cry is a video game that my older brother and I both enjoyed wholeheartedly when we were growing up. The video game alone brought hours of enjoyment and a rich experience. Oddly enough, just like Dante and Virgil, my older brother and I had different styles when playing Devil May Cry. I always just liked playing Devil May Cry for the sake of just playing Devil May Cry. I did not overexert myself to finish the video game on a harder difficulty. My older brother, on the other hand, would overexert himself and play Devil May Cry on the hardest difficulty. He enjoyed the thrill of challenge, reward, and success. When Devil May Cry 2 released, I remember how disappointing the experience was in general. The lackluster story, weak combat, and poor integration from the first Devil May Cry left my older brother and I to question what happened. About the only thing we agreed on was that the Devil Trigger in Devil May Cry 2 was cool. Being able to modify and change the Devil Trigger made for an interesting concept. Then came Devil May Cry 3: Dante's Awakening. Like many others, this video game left us in awe. A thunderbolt rush of exuberant gameplay, brilliant story, and improved yet similar standards to that of the first Devil May Cry exhibited. In my opinion, Devil May Cry 3: Dante's Awakening is a masterpiece. I still remember watching my older brother beating the third and final Virgil boss fight on the hardest difficulty. He complained the whole time afterward that his hands never hurt so much in his entire life. He still complains about that experience as he recalls the memory from time to time. The generic experience of Devil May Cry 3: Dante's Awakening was an absolute blessing. This video game was, and is, a one-of-a-kind creation that was built way ahead of its time. As the series continued, my older brother was rather disappointed with Devil May Cry 4 and Devil May Cry 5. He stopped playing Devil May Cry after the third game. As for me, I still continue to play Devil May Cry. However, I only play Devil May Cry for one huge reason: Virgil. Ever since the introduction of Virgil in the Devil May Cry series, he was in the first game, but not really fully explained, I have never looked at Dante ever again. Most people that love the Devil May Cry franchise like Dante. His boorish, sassy, and cocksure ego has given him praise as a character. However, Virgil is my favorite character. Poised, elegant, and fierce. Virgil is what I would call a refined and classy devil. Not only is Virgil just badass, he is extremely powerful. I like that aspect about Virgil the most. A man, or devil, that demonstrates how to wield power effectively with grace and style. What makes Virgil even more likable in my book is that he is not omnipotent. To become his ideal self, he seeks power beyond his humanity. A mark of a true character that people can get behind. Alright, enough with the fanboy praise. Let us continue to the big reason why Devil May Cry 3: Dante's Awakening did not make my list of top video games of all time. To be honest, I found this game rather difficult to place as a runner-up instead of being on my list. As I reviewed the video game, I came to the conclusion that the mechanics were the reason. Specifically, the weapon and ability mechanics. Instead of just talking about the mechanics and boring you with the words of details, why not make a tier list? Tier lists are a big thing that people like doing nowadays, and they effectively illustrate what things dominate over others. There are two conditions that I would like to state about this tier list. The first is that this list is entirely my opinion. I did not look up information or data from some website. This tier list is entirely made up based on my experience of playing Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening. The second condition is that the list only entails that each weapon and ability is fully maxed out with all upgrades. Alright, let us begin with abilities, which are called styles. The first style to start is the Swordmaster style. The Swordmaster style arguably is one of the best styles in the game, as the mechanics expand each melee weapon with more moves. This style allows you to compound combos and increase damage output on select weapons. However, there is a drawback. The Swordmaster style occasionally leaves you wide open to receive damage. Because of this, I put the Swordmaster style in A tier. The next style is the Gunslinger style. The Gunslinger style is situational. I never really used this style in boss fights and rarely in mob fights. While some firearms have great gunslinger abilities, the mechanics are rather slow. Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening is a fast-paced, action-packed video game, and speed is a common denominator associated with the gameplay. Being slow is not ideal. Therefore, the Gunslinger style is placed in the C category. Royal Guard is a style that takes immense practice. I am sure you are all aware of how effective this style can be if used masterfully. Time your blocks to that of incoming hits to build a meter that will be then exchanged to deal massive damage. However, for me, this style is precarious. While I certainly see the quality, the practice takes time to master every single enemy, situation, and boss battle. Not only that, but the chance to miss your discharged attack can leave you frustrated. I am placing Royal Guard in B tier. The Doppelganger style is just not worth the exchange of your Devil Trigger. While you do get a handy clone that mimics your moves exactly, the payoff is severely consequential. I actually avoid this style completely and never use this style. D tier. Just like the Doppelganger style, the Quicksilver style is also not worth the exchange for Devil Trigger. The Quicksilver style simply slows down all movement around Dante for a limited time frame, which is based on his Devil Trigger meter. I have never found this remotely useful nor exchange worthy. Another D tier style ability. The last and final style is Trickster, arguably the most handy and resourceful ability in the entire game. Highly dependable, great in every situation, works well with every single weapon, a true ability worth having. The Trickster style allows for rapid dodging, extra movement, and teleportation. Needless to say, this is my preferred style and will happily place this in S tier. Period. Now on to the weapons! Let us review the firearms first before the melee weapons. The Artemis Beam Cannon mechanics are slow and mid-ranged. While the cannon can be charged using the Gunslinger style, the output is not worth the cost. This is the last firearm I think to use out of all of the others. Overall, this weapon is lackluster and can definitely be put in D tier. Next is the Spiral Sniper Rifle. This certainly is a goofy and awkward firearm to give Dante. Sniper rifles are typically long-range stealth weapons, but in Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening, Spiral is your definitive semi-automatic firearm. The only use for Spiral is taking out minor enemies. Besides that, good luck with everything else. Spiral is clunky, slow, and methodically awful in front of every boss. Therefore, Spiral is placed in C tier. The Kalina On is pretty useful. especially in one specific boss fight. High impact damage and a soft area of effect output. The Kalina On makes for a great firearm. Whether you are facing a horde of demons or shooting rockets at bosses, the Kalina On delivers. Overall, this firearm is not perfect, but gets the job done. A definite A-tier placement. The shotgun is not an awful firearm, but certainly is not great. The effective range of the shotgun is, well, short. You can stun enemies with the shotgun or send them flying, but the damage is ultimately pretty weak. The gunslinger style allows for a great expansion of the shotgun in terms of additional mechanics, but does not help the damage output. Overall, the shotgun can easily be replaced and will actually be placed in B tier. The last and most effective companions to hold on your demon slaying quest are Ebony and Ivory. Ebony and Ivory are twin magnum handguns that propel bullets fast. While not capable of high damage in single bullet rounds, continuous firing of the two pistols allows for damage over time. However, to rank up such damage, you need to be mashing the button for a continuous stream of damage as fast as possible. Mashing the button non-stop will definitely start hurting your hand, but on the flip side, you will definitely see the damage output. Ebony and Ivory are not difficult weapons and easily can be placed in S tier because of their high capability of being a solid firearm no matter the opponent. Okay, now we are on the most important part, the melee weapons, or the bread and butter of the gameplay. We will start with Cerberus. Cerberus is a pretty decent weapon to have for fighting basic or challenging enemies. However, you need to be in a small room to maximize the weapon's capabilities. Otherwise, prepare for a long battle. Cerberus is a very short-range melee weapon that takes time to master. This weapon is an easy B-tier weapon. The next melee weapon is Agni and Rudra. Agni and Rudra are satisfying weapons. Good damage, fast speed, and great swordmaster moves. This weapon can be mastered easily and is quite possibly a comparable weapon to that of Rebellion. However, there is something Rebellion has that Agni and Rudra do not, the Stinger move. A move that launches Dante quickly towards an enemy. Agni and Rudra have Dante run towards an enemy instead. Agni and Rudra are, without a doubt, an A-tier melee weapon. Navan is interesting. If you like playing Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening with flair, then Navan is your weapon. Other than that, Navan is pretty terrible. The weapon mechanics are not ideal. Navan has Dante stand in place to perform guitar solos. The whole weapon, outside of Devil Trigger mode, leaves you wide open for enemies to attack. Even if you master your musical performances, the weapon cannot perform enough to deal damage. Even the Swordmaster style moves do not exceed expectations. The only redeeming quality that Navan offers is the Devil Trigger mechanics, which allows Dante to fly and shoot lightning bolts from above. Without that saving grace, Navan would have had a D tier placement. However, the weapon will be placed in C tier. One of my absolute favorite weapons in the game is the Beowulf Gauntlets. Why? Because the Beowulf Gauntlets are strong, stylish, and highly mobile. Capable of just about any encounter, Beowulf excels at bringing the best gameplay experience in Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening. This weapon can be paired with any ability style and is highly versatile. The Beowulf Gauntlets easily get an S tier placement. Rebellion is the final melee weapon in the roster and, in all sincerity, is a staple weapon. Rebellion alone can carry you through the entire game. Capable of fighting everything and anything, this melee weapon is easily an S tier class weapon. There is seriously nothing wrong about Rebellion. The weapon is an improved modification of Dante's original fighting capability in the first Devil May Cry video game. Without Rebellion, Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening would not be the same. But wait! There is more! Yes! Dante has a twin brother, Virgil. Virgil has his own style and weapons. He only has one style called Darkslayer, which completely beats Trickster in every way. Virgil has 3 melee weapons, Force Edge, Yamato, and Beowulf, which are all very strong, powerful, versatile, and fast. And he only holds one firearm, Summon Swords, which are moderately slow, but hit hard. Virgil's mechanics are a cut above the rest and take a position called S+ tier. I do not care if I am biased. Virgil is strong even without upgrades. The conclusion of my tier list states the problems of the in-game mechanics. As you can see, some weapons and abilities are rather difficult or plain terrible. At least, in my opinion. There is also the problem with where the character is facing based on the direction of the camera. Several melee weapon attacks take directional inputs based on the character's forward direction. If the camera is facing on the character's adjacent side, then you need to adjust the input of the thumbstick to match the character's new forward-facing direction. This causes many problems in terms of gameplay and mechanics. Overall, Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening is not impossible, but certainly is not easy. The video game gets placed as a runner-up simply because of how difficult the game can stress you out. Although, I do play Devil May Cry games to actually relieve stress from time to time. Beating up demons virtually is what I call stress relieving. Especially when you are Virgil. Especially when you are Virgil. I stated that Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening is the truest form of what a Devil May Cry video game should be in general. I was actually rather upset with how Devil May Cry 5 presented itself. The motif of Devil May Cry video games is about love. You know what I would like to see in a Devil May Cry video game? They say not to give your ideas out online, as people can steal the idea. However, Devil May Cry is an intellectual property. I think it's safe to say that I can give this idea out based on this franchise. I would like to see a Devil May Cry video game about Sparta. A prequel to even that of Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening. I want to play as Sparta, see how he meets Eve, Dante and Virgil's mother, fights for humanity, and becomes a legendary demon. I probably will never get that Devil May Cry video game. But I can at least dream about the game existing. I hope that the Devil May Cry franchise can return to what Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening presented. Because for Dante and Virgil, they have never looked better.
I'll try it your way for once. Remember what we used to say? Jackpot. Arkham.
Well, doesn't it excite you? Now, after 2 millenniums of confinement, it can at last fulfill the purpose for which it was intended.
That's none of my concern.
Exactly.
That's none of your...
To further your study of the black arts, you sacrificed your loving wife to become a devil as well. Knowing this, I thought you'd be more useful to me. But I was wrong.
God dang.
No wonder your attainment of power is incomplete.
What about you? You're an incomplete being as well. Both demon and human blood mingle in your veins.
Shut up. Now that the final door is open, I have no use for you. You're not worthy as my opponent.
Alright.
Come on, imp.
Oops!
You will not prevent this devil's power.
Come on.
You're not worthy as my opponent.
God dang!
We are the sons of Sparta. Within each of us flows his blood. But more importantly, his soul! And now, my soul is saying it wants to stop you!
Unfortunately, our souls are at odds, brother. I need more power.
Dang!
And we're supposed to be twins.
Twins. Right.
Oh, Virgil, you're such a great brother.
It'll be fun to fight with the Prince of Darkness. If my father did it, I should be able to do it too.
Dang! Virgil is just boss. Thank you for watching this video. If you like this video and episode, please feel free to check out the Pondersaur channel for more episodes. Our Etsy store has expanded inventory with exclusive socks. Along with the Pondersaur mug, you can now update your wardrobe with Pondersaur apparel. Come check out our store via a link provided in the description below. Once again, thank you for all that have supported this community. I'm your host, Richard Dahlm, and this is Pondersaur Words with a Roar. Take care.